Now, if you got a devil that's literally red, got horns poking out their head and a pitchfork in their hand, all right, and it's a tree that fell in the street, and you got to lift this tree up so that people can pass and not be trapped by whatever tsunami is supposed to come in the next 30 minutes, all right, if that devil get in that street and help you lift up that tree, all right, then that's not the devil in that story. Are you with me? No, people can't understand that. They say the devil is the devil. No, the devil is what you do because you are one deed away from being the devil. All right, to somebody or to yourself. And you're one deed away from being an angel, but we can't really just say angel. You really got to say a good being or an agreeable being, because when you say angel, you go back around to Revelation chapter 12, and they'll tell you that Satan had angels too. You know what I mean? So people think angel mean good. It don't mean good. The same way people think demon or daemon means bad. It's not that it means bad. It's just you got to understand what story is being told at what point in time. You with me? So you had all of these devils, pay attention, that have been bringing forth this darkness. And they wanted people to align with the black code. Why is it all about black? Okay, who was this crow? All right, when you think of a crow, what color do you think? Okay, you had this being called Jim Crow, or a crow who was bringing a piece of information. What's a gem? A piece of information. All right, and that piece of information was brought way before this crow showed up, because you had a question that was asked, say, will he lynch? And yes, he will. They will lynch. When they get power, they will lynch. That's what they always been doing. Lynch is short of one letter, flinch. Okay, with the F, because they're afraid. And anybody that gets power and they're afraid, they'll fight to maintain their power. They'll become self-destructive to maintain their power, even if they don't deserve that power, or they didn't have the right of ownership, okay, or the right of survivorship when it comes to the land you're standing on. They'll still fight to defend it and destroy it themselves. Okay, so will he lynch? Yeah. Will he flinch? Hell yeah, because they flinching now. Why are they flinching? Because of that sun. So what's their issue with the sun? Why is Bill Gates trying to fight the sun? Why, when you go outside every day now, are they trying to spray these fake clouds in your atmosphere, knowing there ain't been no clouds out here? And why aren't any clouds out here?
Come on.
You know what I mean? Now look, they can tell you I'm crazy, but all you have to do is walk outside, because you don't have to listen to phase one. He ain't telling you to believe nothing he say. He telling you to go and do your own research, meaning you search for Ray, Ra, the sun, yourself. You go, when they came out with that bullshit ass conspiracy about the Amber Alert, which I told you, I said, all that's an illusion. I said, they pushing this emergency alert system. You remember the conscious community leaders were telling niggas to go into the wilderness. You had niggas who supposed to be woke, who were saying that they're going to put their phone in aluminum foil, put it in a microwave, and then after they put it in a microwave, they were going to put it in a safe. They were going to go and download a code for that safe. They were going to ship it off to Paris, and they were still going to go into the wilderness. And I was the only motherfucker on live. The whole so-called conscious orientation lineup that people keep trying to associate me with, I was the only motherfucker on live laughing. When the shit went off, I said, ain't this an Amber Alert sound? Ain't this the same exact sound? I said, now watch. I said, these motherfuckers gonna tell you it ain't gonna set in just yet. It ain't targeted the zombie nerves in you just yet. And then sure as you can tell, all them other niggas, I wish I could remember his name. I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember his name. I would be able to some Zen, somebody, Immortal Zen. I think that was the nigga name. All the niggas also, y'all gotta wait. It don't just pop off like that, but it take a little time. He was the same nigga telling niggas be scared about hamburgers. You know what I'm saying? On Hamburger Day, on National Hamburger Day, when they did a deal on hamburgers, niggas said, listen, I was there. You can lie to whoever. Niggas said that because them hamburgers was 10 cents, anybody that went to go get them hamburgers would die. And that the frequency, do y'all understand what a false prophet is? Do you really understand it? It ain't just biblical, okay? They said the frequency was going to activate. And when that frequency activated, anybody who had them a Mick Jr., whatever the fuck, a Whopper, anything that was 10 cents, anybody who had one of them, you was going to turn into a zombie. Or you was going to die. There was niggas who said it was going to be over for you. You was going to die. Niggas did no such thing. And I was the only motherfucker on here. I said, look, we was singing and everything. My mama came in, we was singing. It was a good time. All right, the shit went off. I said, don't that sound like some Amber Alert shit? Right? And they distracted everybody, had everybody focused on this shit, and niggas was actually instructing people to put their phones underground, dig a hole, put it in there. You know what I mean? Put it in an envelope, put it in your mailbox, lift up the thing and say return to sender so they can have it, then get it later. Listen, I'm telling you. And this is who people listen to. These are the people who people be listening to. And I'm saying all you have to do is pay attention to how many times somebody's wrong about something. Look at how many times How many events these motherfuckers done been wrong about? How many times niggas tried to play prophet and said, watch out, niggas was saying, on this date, the Golden Gate Bridge is gonna fall. The Golden Gate, I can get in my car right now and drive across that bitch right now. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was saying that shit from the jump. They were saying, yo, hey, be careful about August 11th of 2022, the Golden Gate Bridge is gonna fall. All right, they were using gematria and all this other shit. Niggas was telling me I didn't know what I was talking about because I don't use gematria. I said, y'all are, listen, there's a lot of people who are mimicking the arts, who are mimicking the sciences, right? Gematria is the science of the mother. You don't even realize you're saying the gem that the mother brought. Gematria. You're also saying Geo or Gaia is the mother. Mitochondria, the powerhouse of all of this information, which is a lodge, by the way. When we ask about the grandmother, we say, what's your lodge? And that grandmother, that actual lodge, is the womb or the house that you live in when you first get here. You understand? So why the fuck would I need to go look at a code reader that's going to send 1,000 different predictions about what the fuck they think gonna happen? I'm supposed to choose in between all these options and these words. Why would I do that when I can just listen? When I can just listen, and instead of trying to speak whatever the fuck I want to speak, how about I just listen and let whatever need to come through, come through. Before I got on this live, I took a deep breath and I said, let only the truth come through me. Literally, before I got on, I said, let only the truth come through me. That's gematria. So you want to ask yourself a question. How motherfuckers who using gematria is wrong? They keep getting this shit wrong. They keep missing dates. They playing prophet. But the motherfucker who ain't never told you he doing no gematria, anything like that, somehow, when I say some shit, the shit always line up. So Michael won. Let's get to it. Michael won. Now, the world don't know about Phase 1 Michael album. They don't have to, do they? The same way the world didn't know about Phase 1, but they found out about the D1 person, all right, or the David person. But they didn't know who Phase 1 was. They didn't know that when you're looking at the image of David, you're looking at Phase 1 in 2019. You understand? The same way when niggas found out that there was a 16-year-old Mason teaching class hidden knowledge, all right, they say, oh, this nigga's 16, and niggas was messaging me, asking me questions. I'm like, nigga, that was 4 years ago. People are catching wind of what I've done 4 years later. You understand? And it's showing up in their reality in different ways. So they didn't know. So the world didn't know about Phase 1's Michael album. Okay? But Phase 1 told you and reminded you and showed you the whole breakdown. I said, look at it. I said, we going against the dragon. Remember, I did a whole breakdown. I said, Drake is the dragon. People said, what? This nigga's cloud chasing. I said, you don't get it? Drake is the fucking dragon. You have to know why people show. I told you why 19 Keys was named Jabril Muhammad. You know what I mean? I told you what was going to happen with Nature Boy's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Rashad Jamal's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Brother Polite's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Bobby Hemmitt's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Brother Panic situation. I literally said these things. You had to been walking with me since the Baphomet is out of order days years ago, where I explained all of this. You understand? So I literally show people that if you go and look up Drake, the shit literally means dragon. If I'm making it up, well then you telling me that I done reincarnated thousands of times though, because that word been around here for thousands of fucking years. Draco, Tanim, the dragon, or Leviathan. It's been here. You understand? So it just so happens, I told you, I said, don't Drake look like an owl? Don't nigga Drake look like an owl? I said, he don't like an owl ass nigga, y'all. Like, the reason that he came out with the OVO shit is almost like he looked in the mirror one day, he said, I look like a fucking owl. And said, I know what to do. He looked like an owl. Now that I told you, you can't unsee the shit. You gonna look at this nigga and say, this nigga looks like an owl. You have to ask yourself, why this nigga look like an owl? I'm gonna say it enough times that it stick. That's what I'm doing. That's the plan. This nigga looks like an owl. If you never seen an owl, you have to actually go look for an owl, okay? And if you find an owl on Google, you be like, okay, this is him. And then you go and look at Drake. You're going to look at the nose shape. You're going to look. I said, how does a human being look like an owl? You like, this nigga phase is on point. How the fuck did I never notice that the OVO nigga literally looked like Molech? He literally looked like the niggas who are associated with the OVO. The OVO been the OVO. It's been the OVO since the beginning of time. That's why they hid the OVO as something called the NWO, which is also referred to as the OWO, and that means one world order. And that OVO is supposed to be up under a group of beings who are referred to as the Molekians, all right, or the Baalians. And those Baalians, like I told you, I said, look at it. Ain't nobody coming out to fight Balenciaga. Balenciaga came out and announced their hierarchy. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. I didn't say that on accident. They're announcing their hierarchy, or the arc of their eye, which is higher, or their hierarchy. They saying, yo, we are the king. Balenciaga, Baal is the king. I've been telling folks that for years. Then these niggas, as soon as they do one fucking ad, they say, oh, Balenciaga means Baal is the king. I've been saying that, but it was you conscious community spiritual people who said, we ain't using none of that Bible shit. Y'all got to get out of all that Bible shit. You didn't know Baal was in the Bible?
Come on.
You didn't know they mentioned all that shit in the biblical scripture? The same reason I said, all y'all niggas been trying to claim that y'all are above a book that you haven't read. You don't know that all this shit been popping up has been coded in the Bible and the Quran.
Come on.
And I show people Corona as the Quran. I show people that the number 19 that they placed on Corona was the number 19 that they hid in the Quran in a hidden secret. You understand? But niggas like, we don't need those books because you're too lazy to read them. When you actually go in and read them, I know it takes time, but I've been reading them since I was little. So you got to do the math on this, right? You go and read them, you say, wait a minute, this happened. Wait a minute, this code means this. You start being able to connect these dots. And you start realizing why it seems like even though you're trying to tell me you're above this book, somewhere you still find your way to say, we are all gods. I said, that's right there in Psalms 82, verse 6. Somewhere you still try to tell me about the third eye. Okay, the light of the eye is the body. Somewhere you still try to tell me about the semen retention. Okay, that's in Galatians. Somewhere you tell me about all these things. I'm like, the shit is in the book that you're telling people don't read. You understand? You're saying it in a way that you've been taught to say it, which I can understand it, because they have been misled. But they were misled by the imams and the pastors. You understand? The book itself ain't misled no motherfucking body. The same way the books themselves can't enslave nobody. They said that book enslaved our people. No, the book didn't do shit. You want to know what they used? If you never read a book called The Blueprint for Black Power, I would advise you to read it. I think it's Dr. Amos Wilson. Okay? Go read that book, Blueprint for Black Power. They use abrupt force. That was their tactic from the beginning. They didn't say, hey, read this motherfucking Bible. Get over here and read this Bible and throw the Bible. Nigga, they've been using abrupt. They killed people. They killed people. They made examples of people. They forced people to worship those images. So the question remains, why would phase one say F Black history? Right? The question is, why have you yet to denounce their month? Why have you yet to denounce and reject that they give you one short month to celebrate a history that probably don't belong to 80% of y'all? He said, how is that possible? Well, first of all, do you understand why they call the U.S. a melting pot? Do you know why they call it that? Because some of y'all come from the Caribbeans. Some of y'all from Europe. Some of y'all have Mongoloid ancestry. Some of you have Caucasoid ancestry. Some of you have Negroid ancestry. Some of y'all have off-planetoid ancestry. So for everybody to say that everybody's ancestors, listen, our ancestors were slaves. Our? What do you mean by that? You didn't ask anybody in here before you started speaking, Umar. You didn't ask everybody in here to provide their genealogy. You didn't ask everybody in here to provide their ancestry. You didn't ask everybody in here to even deliberate upon their etherology. And I was the one who said, look, there go your age right there, AGE. Ancestry, genealogy, etherology. Your ancestry, if you don't know, is dealing with all the dates. Your genealogy, if you don't know, is dealing with all your documents. And your etherology, which people probably never heard before me, is dealing with your nature. Who are you? What are your deeds? Because it don't matter if our ancestors were slaves. Whoever the hell Tyrone is could still wind up being an enemy if his ancestor was a fucking slave. And we also have to make sure that it's clear that they were never slaves. They were prisoners of war. All of our ancestors, if you're talking about those people who did go through that, they fought. They fought. And because these people came from all these other worlds, literally they were aliens from other worlds, meaning another continent. That's what they call them, other worlds though. And because they came from these other worlds with advanced technology, all right, a lot of these people who were some of your ancestors were not able to fight them. All right. And they weren't able to get the help that they needed to fight them because a lot of these people had secret help that never touched your history books. Because how the fuck did these people get? You say us. You say us. And niggas like, who? Nigga, I'm CIA. You know what I'm saying? I work with them. You know what I mean? And you think you're saying them. You think you're saying Caucasoids. And you're not. All right? Which that's what Kanye, no, not Kanye. Yeah, Kanye was kind of saying that too because he was speaking about the identity being snatched from people. And I told people what he meant. I remember when everybody tried to act like I was crazy when I said, this nigga speaking on Moorish science. That whole breakdown of the 322 and what do you speak about? The status and all this other stuff and how the identity was missing and everything. Nobody want to hear it. When he said white lives matter, I was the only motherfucker who knew what it meant. I said, duh, nigga, that's black lives. Listen, I'm gonna show you if you can manage it. Take a deep breath, all right? Because I'm sure when I say F Black History, 70 niggas left. Okay, you gotta listen. If you think you got all the answers, and you think these people who like the Sean Kings and the rest of them are the real leaders who actually give a fuck about you, and they don't get $90 million and disappear and all that other shit, fine, leave. But if you know that it's some bullshit going on, stick around. And I'll tell you, because a lot of secrets they don't want people to know. But as a traveler myself, we were literally taught this shit. And I was raised up by Masons and Moors and all of that before I ever became a traveler. So I actually didn't even have to touch the fucking walls, you know what I'm saying, or go behind them doors because they were giving me all the jewels anyway. But going behind them doors changed everything because you start being able to put the light where it's supposed to go. You understand? So if you think you know what I'm saying, you think Tamika Mallory give a fuck, and the reason why she did the Cadillac commercial is because she cared about her people and the struggle and all of that, then that's fine. You know what I mean? If you think Killer Mike can get on a live and tell me that he's too high to have a conversation about the evolution and the revolution of the conscious beings or the melanin dominant people, you think that's normal, that's what it's supposed to be like to be a leader, that's fine. If you think T.I. can go from talking about us or else to be battling 50 Cent about who got the best catalog, and that's what leaders are supposed to do, who have the resources and all the shit they claim that they have, you think that's what they're supposed to do, then fine. You don't belong here. You should go ahead and bounce right now because it's about to get deeper. Righteous. So this whole conversation about Martin Luther King, all right, or MLK, all right, because even when you're saying MLK, you're saying Molech, all right, it's beginning with the word Michael, because Martin was originally named Michael. That name switched. Now, Michael, again, Mikael, is saying one who was like God. So that was Michael King, okay? One who was literally like God, Mikael, was shifted to Martin, which is still saying a warrior. You understand? And that warrior went on to fight his way to the top and got approached by some very, very, very powerful individuals, all right, from different organizations, one that you know as the Masons. And everybody who was walking around him was travelers. All right. So there was a conversation about MLK going through one of the lodges in Atlanta to be brought in as an official on paper Mason. How some of these people like, what was the nigga, Al Sharpton, Herman Skip Mason, the rest of these people are on paper as being travelers. Okay. Or Masons, like your Harry S. Trumans, the rest of them Shriners, the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? You can find the information on them as being Masons. But they pulled a fast one. They said, well, if we don't put it on paper, then even when it comes to, because they know the Masonic clause is, people hear masonry, they think devil, right? They wanted to paint, after killing him, they wanted to paint Martin Luther King as the whole face of Black history. So when people think Black History Month, the first motherfucker that pop in their mind is Martin Luther King. Come on. So Martin Luther King was just doing his works. You know what I mean? He was getting paid for a lot of shit too. People don't understand it's business. Right? They dress up in their suits like the NAACP and the rest of the people, they dress in the NOI. All right? It's business. It's not to say that business is a bad thing. However, you're not to forget that a suit is a business attire. You understand? So they went out to do the thing, and they made a lot of changes, especially for the people that were experiencing what they were experiencing at that time. And there's no but that follows that. It's a major respect for all of the people who were able to orchestrate the sit-ins and the boycotts and all of that. Right? However, there was another side of it. And when Malcolm X went over and had his Hajj, all right, over to the Holy Mecca, are you listening? And was able to receive the information about the other side, which was the white. Because remember, he came back speaking about how he didn't know that the so-called white people were Muslims also, or the so-called white people were Islamics also, or the so-called white people had supreme mathematics up under their belt too. He thought, through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that it was the black man in America. Listen, the black man, which means that you're not actually documented as a man. That's another thing that they kept sacred. So the black man in America, or what's referred to as Black America in the Western Hemisphere, was the original man. And the actual colored man, or the one who was supposed to be the devil, was the Caucasoid. So he went over there in the same time period and found out that it was so-called Caucasoids who were over there that were prostrating and giving salat and all of this stuff, taking shahada just like the rest of these people who were melanin dominant people. They were Muslims. All right. And he found out through a lot of them other Muslims who were over there, melanin dominant and melanin recessive ones alike, that there was a game being played in the Western Hemisphere. And that game was being played on a board. And that board is referred to as the chessboard. But they made the masses think that that chessboard was a checkerboard. Because if you think it's a checkerboard, you think checkers is being played. But if you don't know it's a chessboard and chess is being played, then you don't know what game is being played right over your head. And people will argue you down and say, it's the same board. And I'm telling you, based off of the circumstances, it's not the same board. It's not even the same pieces. So he came back over here with new knowledge about what black and white meant. And so he said, yo, at one point in time, I spoke what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said, you hear me saying the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. He said, but now I'm telling you, I done figured something else. He said, it's not about no black and no white thing. It's about a human rights thing. They said he has to be killed. They won't tell you this, but they don't want to tell you this. They want to make you think that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was enemies. You understand? They started having sacred meetings and sacred houses. And amongst them sacred meetings were a few sacred brothers from both the blue and the red houses, all right, who were teaching those brothers what the real game was. Brother, let me tell you something about status correction. Brother, let me tell you something about birthright. Brother, let me tell you something about sovereignty. Brother, let me tell you something about you being the rock. You are Morocco. Listen, you are my rock. You know what I'm saying? Brother, let me tell you something about getting information. Brother, let me tell you something about who run the world. Girls, the matriarch. Let me teach you about what they stole from you. So when Kanye came out and was explaining that the same ones who want you to call yourselves black are the same ones who strip the identity from you, I said, I know what this nigga said when Kanye West, listen, Kanye West, that's why I had a teacher that said Kanye or Ye West goes east, out of the west, darkness, into the light. East, okay, which another secret or sacred that's been held, all right, is saying when you're going east, you're actually going west. When you're accessing that light that you get from the east, because the sun rises in the east, okay, when you're accessing that light, you find out what was dark. Because darkness meant what? Something that was hidden or concealed or halal or Baphomet or Sophia away, all right, or demi-urged away. It was never supposed to be revealed or brought to the light. Okay, so that you could see beyond that veil. That's why ray and veil are right next to each other. Ra or veil. Ra is light. Never forget that. That's why you say sun rays or ray. Ra, ray. Okay, and veil, veil. When you put a light up to a veil, you can see what's behind it. All right, and then after that, you just got to do what they showed you when Toto was in the Wizard of Oz movie and went up to the curtain or that veil and pulled it back. And you can see the game they've been playing. All right, then you realize who the Tin Man is, the tax identification number. Then you realize who the statue is, all right, as that Tin Man. Then you realize that the statue was supposed to be referring to a version of yourself that couldn't actually exist as a living being, okay? Meaning, if you say you're a statue, all right, I'm going to represent myself, okay? You can't actually represent yourself because if you were trying to represent yourself, that presentation would actually have to be living and breathing. So if you represent yourself and it's not living and breathing, then already you're working on what's referred to as de facto or dis facto. Okay, meaning you're going against the facts. It's not the actual fact that you are that living being that's standing there in that courtroom. And what do you play on the court? A game. Are you listening to me? So you understand now who the Tin Man is and why he needed a heart. And all he needed was a heart because that heart was that connection to the land. All right. And without that heart, which gives you that rhythm or that heartbeat, which is the first song that you hear when you're in the grand house and when you came through in the lodge, when you were naked and you were blind because there was no light. All right, until they started putting light in the womb with the ultrasound, there was no light for the babies. You understand? You saw only darkness. That's all you knew. The only thing you heard was the heartbeat of your own, which sounded like a warping sound. All right, and the heartbeat of your mother. That was the first song you ever heard. You understand? So what do you say? If I could feel. They separated people from that connection to divine. And when you're saying divine, you're speaking about something that is literally connected to the earth. That's why as soon as you came into this reality, what's the first thing they moved to do? The first thing they moved to do, which is not what a lot of these so-called ancestors, as I'm saying, got to say so-called, because we got to break that spell of thinking when you're saying the ancestors, you're talking about everybody. All right. A lot of these so-called ancestors or whichever ancestors it applies to, all right, didn't do that. They would let the umbilical cord fall off. All right. But these doctors of modern day As soon as a child is born, they cut the cord. All right? And I explain in the book, How to Love Again, that the biblical cord, is the what? Compassion of Buddha. You listen, the basic sound of the universe, which has 3 sounds with it. A, U, and M. All right? And the heart is attached directly to that U. The A is that root, and that M is that third eye, okay? Which the eye is the mind, by the way. The eye and the brain were one when it came down to the ancient Kemetic ones or the ancient Egyptians. They didn't really separate the third eye and the brain for a reason, okay? Because even the pineal gland that is that third eye sits in the brain, okay? So you have your A-U-M, all right? A-U-M. The A is that root or that foundation. The U is that heart at that crossroad, okay, or that green light. And then the all right, which is the crown chakra activation, which gives you a corona. Go look up what a corona is. It's that halo that you see the angels having. It's the halo that you see Jesus having. It's the halo that you see Rasulullah or the messenger of Allah, Muhammad, having. Or anybody who came through as a holy person. For some reason, they all had this glow around them, which the literal word for that is corona. You understand? So anybody who had that corona was able to bring forth the light. So you have your A, U, and M, which is your own. And then there's a silence that takes place after that. Okay? And they count that too as a 4, but that's a secret 4. All right? So the magic number is actually A-U-M. But people think Om is 1 sound, but it's actually 3 sounds. The point is this. When you're saying biblical, all right? I'm saying it like that on purpose. I know it's umbilical. Okay? But you say biblical, you're saying the basic sound of the universe that allows for you to understand the basic information before leaving Earth. Biblical, Bible, okay? Or Biblios. Okay? Remember they gave you the Helios, Biblios, or which means the sun scroll. All right? So you have to understand the basic information before leaving Earth. And that gave you that Om sound. And that's why to this day, the ones who are called the monks and the nuns, or the nuns, monk and nuns. When we say monk and nun, it's saying mukminun. All right? And mukminun, or mukminati, is saying the ones who are the believers, okay, masculine and feminine, of Allah, who is called the source. Okay, masculine and feminine, of Allah, who is called the source. Came out right with the album called Michael. And that song, or actually it's a music video, because the song been out since 2021. The music video aired on 9/11. Stay with me. All right? Because they went around later saying, oh, there's an emergency. Emergency alert. All right? What I say? I dropped it on 9/11 for a reason, and you'll know. Pay attention. You'll see. All right? So I dropped the song Source, or the music video for Source on 9/11 of last year. And I dropped the album Michael on 9/11 of last year. You with me? That Source song was all about the sun. And if you think I'm playing, go and watch the music video for Source, okay? Or write it down so you can do it later. Go watch the music video for Source, and you will see not only the sun, okay, and the world, which is this world, or Hilal's world, being destroyed. You'll also see me walking around with a umbrella. All right? So you have to ask yourself, if this music video is speaking about the sun and the source, and the song is saying, Nashhadu ila ilaha illallah, all right? We come in the name of the source, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we flipping niggas off the porch. Okay, we speak about the source, the sun. I don't get it, Faze. Why would you be, first of all, walking in blue shoes, okay? And why do you have an umbrella that's also blue if it ain't even raining? You know what I mean? But you have to understand how these things line up. So when Killer Mike was arrested, you will actually see one of the people who was walking with him with an umbrella. All right? And they walking with the umbrella over him. And it was raining. Why is the umbrella there? Why is the blue umbrella there? Why is the blue shoes there? Let me tell you why. You got to learn why. What's my first book? The first book is called Why. All right? The reason for that is because the source goes beyond the sun. All right? That cosmos source, or that heavenly source, all right, which in Hebrew is referred to as Shemayim, all right, when you speak about the heavens, has 2 waters, or 2 names, or 2 words that come together to create that word Shemayim. So the word Shem, all right, was dealing with the sun, or Shemesh, all right, or Shema, okay, or Esh, which is say the fire. Okay, so you have Shem Esh, or the fire that is the sun. And then you have Ma'im, which is the water. So you have fire and water. So you're seeing the sun, but you have to remember the water. A lot of people will look up at the source and remember the source through the sun, okay? But before that light or that sun was here, there was water here, okay? Before we said, let there be light, there were the orders of the water here, all right? Or the eastern stars that people don't know about, all right? That were here. That's why they dress in all white. They already in all white. The brothers who are the Masons, their job is to earn their badge, okay, to be able to travel to the east so that they can be garbed in the garb of righteousness, which is all white. All right. But the eastern stars, our silent sisters, okay, are already over there in the east, dressed in all white, just like the Muslims wear. Okay, which is that guard waiting for that marriage of the lamb to take place, or the wedding of the lamb. Okay, many are called, few are chosen. Are you with me? So look at the keys. When Yea, all right, who said, I call myself Yea now because that's the name or the word that appears the most in the Bible. All right, he said you find that word a lot of times in the Bible. I don't know for sure if it's the most. I haven't fact checked that. Okay, he said, I'm always saying Yea because you're saying you. I'm getting your attention. I said the same thing I told people. He came out with the White Lives Matter shirt. Y'all remember that? Because everybody lost their mind. Right? I came on and did a teaching. I said, White Lives Matter. All right? It was a clubhouse teaching back in the clubhouse days, 2022. Okay? So I explained the White Lives Matter. I said, this only makes sense. When matter becomes live, all right, when you heat up matter, the faster that matter or those molecules move, the hotter they become, the brighter they show up in your reality. So when matter becomes live, it turns white. When you, or us, we, as human beings, complete that journey, okay, from the darkness into the light, across that desert, you receive your all white, which is the holy high. Interestingly enough, Killer Mike mentioned those two words in his last song on his album, which has 14 tracks on it, by the way. And I explained to you what the 14 is because in the on the dollar bill, they have the 13 levels of that pyramid, but nobody counts that 14th level, which is that eye of providence that sits in the top. You understand? And that's a whole different level. It's called the capstone. You with me? So when matter turns live and it continues to heat up, it turns white. This is referred to as state correction or status correction. Why would we say status correction or state correction or statute correction or statistics correction? Because listen, if I give you a statistic, I can give you statistics right now. I can say 60% of the people in here is listening. Other 40% in here is trying to figure out a way that they can disprove it. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a statistic. That don't mean it's true. But the first thing the brain wants to do is believe the statistic. But I just gave you some shit that's called stats or statute. Don't even have to be real. I can give you some facts that don't have to be actually true. Truth is truth. You understand? So if we say status correction, or statute correction, or stat correction, or state correction, that means we're literally correcting the state. And the state is not speaking about, if I say the state of Florida, all right, I'm not saying the state of Florida to ask you about the landmass that you're calling Florida, all right, which Florida doesn't actually exist. You only make it exist in your brain because you put people at the borders and line and shit up. That doesn't mean anything to the higher ups. We understand that Florida never existed. We're talking about the state of the people that live within those confines. That's it. And what is the state of the people? A condition. That's why every time you go to another state, people are different. You know, Florida right there next to Georgia. But you cannot tell me that Georgians and Floridians are doing the same thing and saying the same thing and speaking the same way. You go up there to Alabama, you go to New York, niggas is speaking, they're in different states. They're in different conditions. You understand? That's why they announced to you in the George Floyd ritual, they said all 50 states are on fire. Okay? The states weren't on fire. But they were telling people who were the higher-ups, who were listening. That's what the higher-ups is using the news for. They're listening and watching for people and seeing how they respond to certain things. They know the only information that's being pushed through the masses as a communication is either through their articles that they run behind the scenes or on them dark webs or something that you wouldn't even expect, which is the movies or sci-fi, which is why they put that fiction on there to trick you. They say science fiction. No. Ain't no fiction. No, they want people to think that it's fiction, but they put in the truth in the science fiction movies, and then they teach the lies through the news. You understand? That's why I would tell people, go watch that movie, The Stand. All right? It will tell you about all this that's been happening, the psychic communication and all of that. You understand? So the key thing to remember with all of this, with that White Lives Matter, the state alteration and all of that, if we're saying we're going to correct a state, we're saying we're bringing you out of the darkness into the light. Meaning the state or the condition that your people are in, okay, is darkness. All right? He said, well, Faze, isn't fire light? I said, well, fire is light, but fire is associated with a lower reality. Okay? If you think about hell, what do people think about? What do most people think of? Hell. They think of fire. Okay? When you think about heaven, do you think about fire? No, but you still see heaven is lit up, right? Because those are two different fires. That's why you have what's referred to as the Orishas. Orisha, all right? The Orishas were the ones who were able to elevate in their own consciousness to be able to step through hell and heaven. meaning they can walk through these realities as they choose. And they even took on forms and started to deal with elements. So you have oil associated with this water. All of these people were working, and they were people at one point in time. And they elevated and transcended what human beings are referred to as now, or seeing as we are now, who are physical beings. They transcended that. You understand? So Ori is saying my light, or. Go look up or, it means light. And Ish is saying fire. You understand? So they're both lights. Yeah, but Lucifer came with a certain light, and Jesus came with a certain light. All right? There was a reason why we hid for you the sacred true light. Okay? So if there's a true light, then there must be a what? A false light. The same way, if there's a false prophet, there must be a what? A true prophet. The same way, if there's an antichrist or a false Christ, there will be many false Christs. Listen, there will be antichrists rising up who won't say that this person came in the flesh. All this stuff is being broken down. If there's an antichrist or a false Christ, then there must be a true Christ or true Christs with an S. He didn't say there's going to be one false Christ, right? He said there'll be false Christs. You with me? So Christ was saying somebody who was anointed or appointed. All right. Or Christ was saying somebody that was attracted or connected. You go look up the Christa word in our Sanskrit. You'll find somebody that has an attraction, okay, or connection, which appointed beings were. They were supposed to be the Christ. So just because you came up in this particular order, let's say we raise you up as a Mason. That don't mean that as a Mason, you're going to do the good works. We can raise you up as a Rosicrucian. That don't mean as a Rosicrucian, you're going to do the good works. Okay, watch this. I can raise you up as a Christian. Christian is an order. You call it whatever you want to call it. Christianity is an order. Islam is an order. All right. Buddhism is an order. Okay. Sikhism is an order. Jainism is an order. All of these things are orders put together to teach a certain way of life. All right. Where people will get something referred to as a carbon copy created, where you will model after, literally model or get in the mold of whatever L came before you. You will model after whoever that leader or that L was, or that elite being was. All right. And teach your children to do the same. Carbon copy. The same reason why the NOI was able to be so successful to this day, because they were able to get a carbon copy. All right? They're going to keep replicating and replicating. Say, all these, that's how soldiers were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Which is why the agreeable ones move a certain way and the disagreeable ones move a certain way. And if you look at these beings and they move, when you look at the Japanese army or the Korean armies, all right, you look at their feet all doing this. You know what I'm saying? They all they shit doing the same thing. They're not a single nigga. If one nigga burk and do this and everybody else doing this, yeah, they're going to get rid of him. The same way the NOI operated. The NOI will say, we're going to stick to this code. This is our moral law. All right, which moral law has multiple meanings. Moral law came from Allah first. All right, and was brought through far to them and Elijah Muhammad. All right, and set as more Al. Listen, when I'm saying more Al, I want to be more like Al. Who is Al? Elah. Who is El Elo? All right, God. I want to be more like God, so I'm going to replicate what God is. God wears a suit. God does. These are the teachings, okay, or the lessons. So when we say you're going to be pure, you're going to do this, you're not going to abuse the women, you're going to, okay, this is what you're supposed to do to be an upright man. All right, if you violate that, then you off post. You understand? More people should actually operate that way. Okay, so you have the moral law that were given to these people so that they could stay in order. All of these orders, okay, were supposed to raise people up to maintain the order. So watch this. Then you had disorders come out that are called orders. And those disorders were people like Anton LaVey's order, all right, which was the satanic order or the order of Satan or the synagogue of Satan. All right, because he spoke about the synagogue of Satan in Book of Revelation chapter 3 verse 9, and Revelation chapter 2 verse 9. You'll read about these people who claim that they were rocking with the Israelites, all right, or claim that they were that specific word of people who will fuck up your algorithm if you start throwing the name around, right? They were saying that they were associated with that, and a lot of people have misinterpreted. That's why one of the things that I stepped on, it was like, yo, you got to stop misinterpreting or mistranslating, all right, which is really misinterpreting what's being said, because they never said that these people were the church of Satan. They never said that. They never said that these people, that group of people as a whole, was the synagogue of Satan. They said they know the blasphemy of those who say or claim that they are Jews and are not. You understand? So if you're claiming that you're one and you're not one, then you are by nature, because what would even make you do that? You're by nature associated with a gathering of, listen, synagogue, a gathering of Shaitan, meaning opposition. You would be gathering amongst them as opposition if you're not one of the real Israelites. You understand? So you could be a so-called Hebrew Israelite, but if you haven't done your genealogy, which they say is impossible, interestingly enough, because I've talked to a lot of Hebrew Israelites, they say it's impossible. We got to go based off the prophecies. Okay. If you're going based off the prophecies, I mean, you're only believing that you're an Israelite. You don't know whether or not you're an Israelite. And I don't know why they start with the Deuteronomy thing or the repetition of the law to say that Deuteronomy was a prophecy. Deuteronomy was not a prophecy. Deuteronomy was a warning. So if those were your ancestors who they said, yo, you'll be blessed if you do this. You'll be cursed if you do this. All right. That means your ancestors chose to be cursed by doing whatever they said would happen if they chose to do that. That was not a prophecy. They didn't say that it was inevitable that you would be chained and have a yoke around your neck. None of this stuff was inevitable. But they gave you options, the same way they're giving people options now, and people are choosing. You with me? But just to say, oh, you're a melanin dominant person, you met this person named Cesariak, and because you met Cesariak, he want to bring you over here, bless you with a name, you know what I'm saying, teach you about Ben Carter and all this. Okay, cool, you learned about that, but did they ever background check you to find out who and what you are? You know what I'm saying? Did they actually find out whether or not you had ancestry or genealogy that ties to a man named Jacob? They haven't. You with me? So could it be that people who are claiming that they're Hebrew Israelites, which is not, it's interesting because you put the Hebrew in there, Hebrew, you're saying somebody that crossed over to be an Israelite. So you say you convert? I don't know. It's interesting when you put them words over there to say you crossed over to being a tribe of Israel or the Israelites or the seed of Judah or whoever you're saying, okay, then the question is, if you have all these people packed together claiming that they're Israelites or claiming they are Jews, or that's what you're really saying, Judas, all right, or Judas, all right, people who are coming after Judah or Judah, all right, if you're saying that you're a part of that tribe, all right, and you haven't actually done a genealogy, you could be a part of the synagogue of Shaitan. It never meant that people who were from Poland or from Spain who claim to be the Jews or the Ashkenazi, whatever you want to call them, it never said that they were Church of Shaitan. You know what I mean? So you have to really get into what's actually being expressed. So there are gatherings now or orders now or houses now that were set up to keep disorder. Baphomet's order was out of order. It was disorder from the beginning. The fact that he had the goat head and the satyr legs, all right, was the disorder because goat was referring to Pan, all right, and the satyr, I already broke that down, was the Saturn light, okay, or the satellite. Or we say Set is the god of disorder, all right, and Ord is light. So the god of disorder's light was the Death Shudder light, and that Death Shudder light was called what? Red light or amber light. So you have the amber light who came up under the crossroad or the anahata or the green light, and then you had the green light that was above all the way up to the crown light, okay, which gave you the yield of the ultraviolet or beyond purple, which was the white light, which everybody was supposed to have that as their essence when they crossed over them roads. Are y'all with me? So because the music industry is still showing to this day what the rock, listen to it, the rock, as in Peter meant rock, okay, or the stone artist, all right, they want everybody to be stoned. Remember Young Thug came out and said, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner. All right, he was saying he was attached to the stone. If you think I'm lying, then why did Young Thug come out with the snake movement? You understand? Why did they amplify the snakes or the serpents? And I told people back when I was in high school, I said, anytime you have a movement of snakes and people are associating themselves with it and they're proud to be snakes, I said something went wrong. Why would you be proud of it? There was never a point in time in history where you call somebody a snake and you meant a good thing. You said, you a snake. You know what I mean? You didn't receive a gift. I say, oh, you should have. You such a snake. You never said that. Snakes meant somebody that was going to snake you. Listen, if I said it, the snake became a verb. So everybody knows what a snake is, but for some reason, just because Bobby Hemming done said some shit about medicine back in the ancient Egyptian days because he heard Dr. York say it, all right, now motherfuckers think that the snake was supposed to be good, but they forgot about Apep. They forgot about Apophis. They forgot about the one who was literally associated with Set, all right, or the god of disorder, who at one point in time Set was supposed to be helping protect Ra from, but then Set went dark. And when Set went dark, what happened? They said, oh, you're the god of disorder. Set went on to be Satut. Set went on to be Seti. Set went on to be Satan. Set went on to be Satan. All right. And now you have these satellites or the red light technology, which you'll find in the 2001 Space Odyssey movie as HAL, H-A-L, okay, which is Halal, all right, or Heli, okay. You got these pieces of technology floating, all right, called satellites that are monitoring everything that's happening, including this. You know what I mean? They can see the whole reality. Okay, and they came out and they said, we want to trap this reality, okay, or this world is what I'm saying, and what's referred to as a World Wide Web. You with me? So you guys say, who are the ones who weave the webs? The ones who weave the webs are called spiders. And I told you, look at it phonetically. When you're saying spider, you're saying spy door. the door that they're able to look. The door, look, it's rectangle. Hey, you can look, they looking at me right now. They said, this motherfucker right here. You know what I mean? They said, this nigga actually doing it. People actually listening to what the fuck he said. We thought that all the right knowledge ones had faded away. We thought all the green light ones had faded away. We thought when we locked Malachi up, that was it. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all been on here and seen tricky shit happen. And we come back on here and say, see, this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's a spy door. Okay, what do they call Young Thug? They call him Spider. You want to know something interesting? Of course you do. Kai Cenat was on his Twitch live stream, right? Or his live stream. And he was yelling at the screen, right? Because Michael won, right? And he was like saying something. He's like, everybody calm down. He said, everybody calm the fuck down. He said, I don't even know who the fuck this is. He was talking about Killer Mike. I don't even know who the fuck this is. You know, peace to you, brother. Positivity to you, brother. Congratulations, da 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 da. He said, then positivity out the window. He said, positivity out the window. Listen, right? He said, who decided this motherfucker? Who decided this motherfucker? And he started naming the other albums, all right, that went to war with Michael. Listen to what I'm telling you, and you'll hear it. A wise person hear one word, understand two. He started listening to other weapons that didn't work when they had that war in the heavens. Remember, stars are celebrities. All right? There was a war in the heavens. All right? Remember, Drake was competing with Michael last year, just last year. After I dropped my Michael album, all right, you heard Drake coming out talking about, you know, he had the little glove on, the Michael glove. Remember? Listen. He had the Michael glove on, and they were fighting for Billy's board. Remember, Billy, the Billy Goats, they have their own board. All right, well, they keeping their own score, and they telling their own story. And on billboards, all right, they were saying, we're trying to see who got more hits. What is a hit? When you think of a hit, what is nigga doing? They fighting. A war. Listen to what I'm telling you. All right? So this nigga Kai Cenat, okay, was screaming at the screen, saying, who decided this motherfucker? Who said Michael won? Who was the one who said Michael won? All right? Now, if you've been walking with me, I said that. But not only did I say it, it was already written. This is how it was written, and this is how it shall be. Revelation chapter 12 spoke about Michael and the dragon called Drake fighting and battling. And Michael won, right? Even when they were trying to say, oh, Drake won. It's all an illusion. Y'all hold on, y'all hold tight. It's all an illusion. The dragon will not win, right? I remember when Dr. York was saying, literally, he said, he ain't going to win, y'all. He said it's going to look like he going to win. He ain't going to win. Are y'all listening to me? So this nigga yelling at the screen, he said, who decided that this motherfucker wins? Who decided that Michael was album of the year? Do you understand that I have an album called Michael that came out 9/11? What was album of the year? Michael. I didn't even know Killer Mike was still doing shit since the Run of Jewel shit. I ain't seen nothing from him since like 2018, 2017. You understand? I had no idea about this album. It popped up as the album of the year. So what was the album of the year? Michael. My album that the world don't even know of yet. It's in the world, but the world don't comprehend it yet. They don't even know. They haven't obtained it. The world comprehended it not, that the true light is out here. How it's out here. They ain't going to see it yet until I ask them, how many more events, how many more green light events do you need for you to be able to understand? When I say the color is green, that's the color. How many more green lights you need? You done seen green lights all over in the sky. North Carolina getting aurora lights. They done came into Aurora Curl. The little green light shit is behind it. The little lime green thing. There's a line over across it. They found that shit in the sky. That shit was projected from my fucking bedroom. You know what I mean? Because NASA said, oh shit, we done found a Christmas tree. A star constellation. All that shit was green. They said in New York, walked outside. They said, what the fuck? There's a green flood. You know what I mean? They came out with a movie, Aquaman. All right, what was it? The Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. The whole movie was featuring green light. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing they was fighting was green light. You know what I mean? How many more green light events do you need? You seen Q the Storm come out with the green light, talking about the White House is the green light? You know what I mean? Or the White House had the green light on it? How many more green light events do you need? I told you before we came out with a green light event, if you go back and listen to my old lives, all right, which are on the live archive page, Phase 1 Live Archive. You go back and listen to them old lives. In them lives, I was saying, I'm telling you, when I say the color is green, it's green. What am I citing or reciting? Wasn't there a person in a movie that had power? There was a movie called The Wiz. And when The Wiz said the color is blue, the color was blue. All right? When The Wiz said the color was green, the color was green. Notice that when each of those colors came through, it was a whole different mood. When each of those colors came through, there was a whole different pattern that showed up that was reflected amongst the whole population of the people that were affected by that light. I'm telling you now, if you didn't know what the green light was, but you started shining that green light around you, or you put up a green light in your house, since I told you to do it back November 6th of last year, which is November. What is November? The November is actually supposed to be the 9 month. Never forget that. Because Noeve or Novi or Novum was saying, what? 9. Go look at what I'm telling you. That 9th month, when I came out and spoke about that green light and did the whole science of green light class, if you've been streaming that green light, I'm telling you, if you would have even tried to put a red light in your home right now, it wouldn't be on for 30 seconds. Now you would know from switching from green light to red light, you would know what the red light has been doing. So that's a tangible representation of what everybody been running their mouth trying to say. We've been talking about raising our frequency for all these years, and nobody ever thought it's time. Bring forth the actual tangible, all right, science of the green light, where people can actually surround themselves with the green light. Now, Doc did it. Dr. Malachi Z. York did it, but everybody want to act like it didn't happen. Are you with me? So if there is a true light that starts your true ascension process, and if I rub my hands together, my hands are ascending. So let's not spiritualize ascension. Ascension happens in science. When you're going through the different states of matter, from your solid to your liquid to your gas, all right, from your salt to your mercury to your sulfur if you're an alchemist, all right, and if you're not, you'll become one, okay? Then that's saying ascension. And if you're going to ascend, you have to speed up. And if you're going to speed up, you have to heat up. So this green light is literally charged faster, all right? It's on a higher frequency as far as the nanometers. When they record in these, is nanometers on their spectrum, okay, than red is, or orange or yellow, all right? But most people have orange or yellow lights in their home. And don't even know what I'm saying. If you just up it 1 more degree or 2 more degrees, okay, then there's going to be a visceral awareness that's going to come. So you may not have known it, but if you try to put a red light in your house, you try to turn on a red light, you're going to be like, wait a minute, it's going to be beating too slow. So we're going into blue soon. You know what I mean? So you're going to get what I'm telling you. There's a different type of wisdom out here. So what am I saying? There's a false light and a true light. There was somebody who came as a false prophet. There was somebody who came as a true prophet. You got real spiritual people, and then you got people who just trying to get some money. That's all this shit is to them. It never meant nothing. It meant money. It meant clout, some attention. You know what I mean? They can use these common words that everybody go crazy over that they never heard them before, and they can manipulate you until phase one step up and say, wait a minute. Hold on one hot one. Let me ask you a question. They say, oh, shit. Niggas just be terrified. When I be like, let me ask you a question, niggas was literally terrified of that, especially on Clubhouse. I be in there talking, you know what I'm saying? They be in there talking, but as soon as niggas say some shit and I got to do this, if I'm on my phone, I got to do this. Oh, yeah, next thing is going to come. I'm like, let me ask you something. Here you go. Yeah, here we go. Let's all go there. But let me ask you something. You just said fourth dimension, correct? Can you describe that for me? Yeah. For those who get it. That's always some sassy answer. Those are the guys who get it. That's not even our shit. Listen, they don't know what 4D is. They don't know nothing about a 4D, 5D, none of that. Listen, they cannot describe that, but they steady saying it. You know what I mean? This week, I tell you got all these weirdos talking about some, he don't believe the ancestors. And you got to ask them, who is the ancestor? Everybody's answer. What are you talking about? Everybody got different answers. Your mama, not my mama. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? I don't believe the ancestors. And why do people think the ancestors mean good people? Why do people think the ancestors mean like, George Washington Carver, peanut butter, not Jim Jones. That nigga was at the fucking jail system. You know what I'm saying? 90% of his life, he didn't do shit for the fucking peanut butter sandwiches you eat today. Not everybody has something to do with the traffic light. Niggas walking around with the traffic light like he did it. You know what I'm saying? Bro, you don't even know what's in the traffic light. You can't even tell me how it changes colors. You know what I mean? What it is? You know what I'm saying? Niggas is mentioning ancestors like, let me stop right there. You say we was this. What are you talking about? We was this. We was kings. Everybody was? How do you have a system? I know they had hierarchies, right? They had peasants. They had all that. So you mean to tell me there were no peasants? You mean to tell me there was no poor people? Nobody was struggling. There was never a famine. None of it. Everybody was kings? Everybody was gods. You got to stop it. The bullshit is done. As soon as this type of truth, listen, you can't go back. As soon as somebody bring these types of points up to you, like, wait a minute, yeah. How was we all kings? Listen, you was all goddesses and gods. You was all kings and queens. All of us. Oh yeah, this is why you say there are children of the Most High. Yeah, they put that in the book, but they also say you are of your father the devil. They are children of the devil. You say we all God's children. Are we? You know what I mean? Even the fucking serial killers? Yeah, that's God's child. Come on now. All right? So there's a whole different conversation where you think God means some spirit that's good. When he literally said, yo, I don't know what they talking about good shit. Listen, I create peace and evil, nigga. Get up with me. That's what it's in the book. He said, nigga, I create peace and evil. Right? Nobody was in the flood was like, oh shit, I'm so grateful for this bath. Nobody was doing that. When they was drowning, they said there's some evil shit. And he could have texted us. Nobody didn't tell us that we was fucking up. You know what I mean? But they said Noah was like, yo, listen to me. They didn't want to listen to Noah. So he didn't send himself, he sent Noah. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know who the fuck Noah is. Tell him to come talk to me if he want. If he don't think I'm supposed to be setting up shop, selling this shit, I had to tell him to come talk to me. He know where the fuck we at. Next thing you know, niggas be like, is it drizzling? Oh, it's been drizzling for 40 days. Nigga, I think we need to run. You know what I'm saying? Nobody looked up and say, yo, this some good shit that's falling out the sky. All right, they probably did for the first 2 days, but after a while, they say, yo, anybody realize it hasn't stopped raining yet? And they drowned. All these people, listen, the animals drowned. The animals still to this day, they don't even know. They in heaven, they cool, they done got over it, but they still don't know what the fuck they did. It's gonna be a deer one day that's gonna rise up and be like, yo, let me talk to y'all niggas. What the fuck did we do to get up here so damn early? I mean, they not upset. My point is they not upset that they did. Y'all not listening. It's just that they don't know why they did. They don't know what the fuck they even did. You got niggas who trying to make up shit and say the human sin bled off on them. We sweated our sins. Listen, my point is there's too much confusion. Then as soon as the good points come, where people say, wait a minute, and you get up on that good foot, you say, oh shit, we've been beguiled. We've been bamboozled. We've been hoodwinked. We've been ran amok all over again. And it's by some of the people who you putting up on these pedestals as leaders. And you have to ask yourself why some of these so-called leaders are accepted amongst all of these so-called oppressors. You know what I mean? So no, it's all a game. All right? At the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, all right, you would have had to have some food, you know, something to drink, all right, a place to lay your head, even if it's under a bridge. You have to be able to take care of yourself and provide shelter from inclement weather. All right, you got to be able to breathe clean oxygen. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what you have to do. So what is it about at the end of the day? Survival. It's a survival game. So you ask yourself, how are people who are claiming that they higher level and having higher level conversations so concerned about what's happening on the fucking riverbank? And their whole thing is they want you to invest in their bank. Or their whole thing is they want you to bank with them or bank on what they say. What are you talking about? They want you to show up and pay them so they can talk to you about some shit. You know what I mean? They up there though. They higher level. They beyond all of this. They're guys. They're creators and all kind of shit. And I be like, yo, I seen niggas talking about some Umar Johnson recently with the Black Wall Street. Whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. Listen. Since you've been listening to me, listen right at the time. Black Wall Street. It don't even sound like some shit that's going nowhere. Black, it means hidden or trapped, or it doesn't have an identity, meaning they don't even know what the fuck it is. It's a question mark. Remember Mortal Kombat? I mean, when you saw the black character, he wasn't unlocked. He was not yet free. You had to go through so many quests, listen, and ask the right questions, okay, and beat those quests and complete those levels in order to unlock whoever. So what the fuck is this Black Wall? Umar Johnson, Black Wall Street. Umar Johnson was giving you the Black Wall Street speech in somebody else's building. Do y'all get the game yet? Y'all don't. Does anybody understand what I'm saying?
Hell no.
Y'all tell me, y'all gotta ask this man what the school that y'all paid for is, right? Because black people don't even know it's already there, but it just needed plumbing. So you mean tell me for 11 years you couldn't install plumbing? 11 years you couldn't get the AC. Listen, are y'all with me? They done played games. So now the voice out here is like, oh no, the games is over, and they thought that was it. So y'all give people too much credit. They said we don't give enough people credit. You give people too much credit. You don't become fans of people. You never were supposed to do that. You became fans of people who's supposed to be bringing you out of fan or out of pan. And remember, pan and fan phonetically is the same. All right? You know, fan is short of fanatics. Okay? So what's the attic of a fan? All right? The heart chakra. They can't go beyond that. They don't see themselves as stars. All right? They're fan addicts. And you can't go beyond that attic until you go beyond that attic. That's why I open up the How to Speak Elite book by saying, look, first of all, I am one of the elite. Let's get it clear. I'm one of the elite. It's just what it is. Do what you got to do with it. I said, but I'm not the only one. I see y'all as having the same ability as being the elite. People think elite mean riches. Listen, I could walk outside tomorrow and trip down the stairs and hit my head on a lottery ticket. And I can get up and I'll be $500 million in the pocket. Then, now I'm elite. It took me to fall down the stairs and bump my head on the lottery ticket. But he'd be like, oh, he one of the ones. Oh, we knew he was. Yo, he didn't know. Listen, this is just a fucking ticket. What's so stupid is that this little bitty ass ticket with some numbers on it will make 500 million people treat you different. And you think it's not hard to fool the masses? Listen, it's not hard to fool the masses. Let me tell you something that they probably don't want to tell you, all right? When you become an intellect, which everybody in here is to a certain degree, everybody has their own degree of intellect. But when you become an intellect that actually uses the knowledge, okay, to put it to work, KUs, like we spoke about earlier, all right, and you come with your own righteous cause, okay, that's why the original G's will get behind you as long as it's a righteous cause. They ain't gonna respond for no bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Or no petty shit. It's all about righteous causes. When you do that and you access that true light, all right, once you find out what's been hidden, once you find out what words mean what and what organizations did what, and you find out the true story, the mystery, not history, when you come back over here, it's like you graduated from college, all right, with a master's, and they send you back to pre-K. You come back over into this world, it's like, what? This is nothing. Are you with me? So they want people to stay in pre-K, but when you go up them schools, who is the data we're talking about? Let's clear it up. All right? Anybody in any situation, okay, who is trying to abuse their power, anybody in any situation that is abusing their power, that's an elite being who doesn't want you to ascend. It's the motherfucker who, in your community, all right, who's what's called hood rich. And he having his way. He ain't having God way. He having his way. And he a hood rich nigga. All right, he buying the females. All right, he buying niggas off. Okay, he conquering the block because he got 50 grand. He gonna be the god of his hood all summer with 50,000. You understand? But let a nigga start making some money, all right, he gonna become the enemy to whoever this being is. Thanks. As soon as he start making some money. All right, which is why when they came through with them PPP loans and all that shit, you had the rappers like Trouble in them who was like, all this new money, and y'all trying to do all this. Whoa, why? Because in all actuality, nobody was looking up to them niggas when they had the money. The only reason why they looking up to y'all niggas and think y'all was doing some shit is because you had an illusion associated with you. I don't see that. There's not a single person who they could point to me their bank account and tell me that that's what makes them rich. It might be something to you, but it's not a single person. I've been around billionaires, millionaires, 100,000aires, 10,000aires, and a nigga who, look, nigga, I'm rubbing these two pennies together. It's going to spark a fire. We're going to be able to cook food with it. I mean, I've been around it, and we should be able to see that that's who people are. The character that they possess. The ability to struggle on purpose if need be in order to make do for another day. The ability to help other people, not what the fuck you could have did for yourself. Listen, if you say, I made a way for myself. You know how all these millionaires and billionaires get upset when people start asking them for help? They say, I had to do this. I had to do. Okay, you had to do that. All right, you did it. Now you got there. Do everybody else have to do that? Does everybody else have to do what you did? Does the youth have to go through what you went through just because you had to go through to be able to get in position? And now that you're in position, you have way more than you need. You're not going to spend all of that in your life. You got way more than you need. You want them to struggle for the chance that you know is very slim to get into the position that you're in. And they're not asking to be in your position. They just asking for a little help. You understand? And they're going to swear it down. I ain't had no help. I ain't do this. Okay, who were your clients? I found my own clients. Did they buy from you? Yeah, you had help. What the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? I had built my business myself. And now I own a dealership. I actually produce the cars. But you're not selling it to your damn self. Everybody had help, silly goose. It matter what the fuck you do. Everybody had help. So if your help got you to be a 10 millionaire, and you see somebody on the side of the road that just needs some food in their belly for that day, where you're straight for a few generations, they just need some food in their belly for that day, and you see them and say, nobody helped me, not only did you just lie, you just showed your nature. You see yourself as an elite, and you're struggling, you're fighting to survive with the illusion. And in your mind, you think you're thriving because of that. In my mind, I laugh. You understand? It's people who are multimillionaires depressed in the motherfucker. You know what I mean? I did this shit myself their way out of relationships. You know what I mean? Friendships. All right? People in their family don't fuck with them. Okay? They don't, the whole thrill of having to pay prostitutes done ran out. That ain't working with them no more. They lonely, they trying to experience spirituality, but they can't find the right thing. And you got all this money. It never meant anything. So there's nobody who has money. You got to remember that. That's all an illusion. You don't have money. You may have the opportunity to access some shit and be like, oh, I can put my hands on this. I can put my hands on. That's why I gave the joke, which was a reality. You say, oh, nigga to say he got $100,000. He said, nigga, I got $100,000. Can you show me $100,000? Say, yeah, give me 2 days. Right? I come back to the house. I got $100,000. He said, okay, cool. We turn on the news. They say, man, just robbed the bank. What? I showed you $100,000. What are you talking about? You had $100,000. Now I got $100,000. Now we the same, right? Now we should be able to kick it with each other. No, it's bullshit. It never meant anything. What these elite care about, that's the only thing that separates these elite who are the actual elite or the eternal elite as they trying to declare themselves, or the Illuminati as they trying to declare themselves. All right? The only thing that's different from them and the person that's in your community doing that stupid shit with the 50K or the 100K trying to make it seem like they're above people is they're speaking about resources over here. But these motherfuckers trying to just take in as many liabilities as they can. They want more responsibilities that they can't handle. They just want more shit that don't mean anything to depreciate. All right? And then, let me take you further. How the fuck does something appreciate in value or depreciate in value? How? Because you said so, right? And he got a car and say, my shit is depreciated. Why? Because they told me as soon as I drove it out the lot, it started not being worth shit no more. Who the fuck convinced you of that when Tupac car sold for damn near, you know what I'm saying, $1 billion? I don't know how the fuck that much this shit sold for. It sold for a lot of damn dollars. You know what I'm saying? And that he been gone, and he been not driving that shit. And I don't even think he was driving the shit. You feel what I'm saying? No, the value comes from here. That's the value. Tomorrow, if they say the dollar crash, okay, and they say now the money is obsolete, it means nothing. You have to go outside and collect rocks, all right? And the rocks got to be less than 2 inches, okay? It got to be this size of a rock. And then you can trade that, and each of those rocks got the value of what would have been $100 US. Motherfuckers be out here killing each other over the rocks that's outside of their backyard. You don't get the fuck out my backyard. You know what I'm saying? They're my rocks. Hey, you know how many people would die tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? If they come out and say some shit like that, people would die tomorrow about the rocks that they just would have kicked. You ain't telling them niggas to kick rocks no more. You say, kick rocks. You ain't telling niggas to do that no more. You like, yo, if you find a rock, bring it to me. You with me? Just because they put out a color and people accepted it and it changed the whole mood. So when they come forth with that light and say, Corona, red, the color is red, Corona, right? And people say, color is red. Red causes anxiety. All right? Red is a symbol of alert, okay? Or the color of alert or an emergency. Red is the color of blood. Red is the color of war. Red, if you surround, why do you think horror movies use red all the damn time? It's all red. Red this, red that, or dark colors. They might use other colors, but they don't darken them. You know what I mean? They don't shoot the horror movies with all this bright atmosphere and happy music and punchlines. No, unless they're trying to give you a gag. You know what I mean? They literally film that shit to scare you. Listen, even down to the tones. If you're watching a movie, all right, next time you're watching a movie, they got like suspense in it and thrill and all this horror, all this other bullshit. Next time you're watching a movie, hit mute. Listen, if the scene even seems like it's scary or thrilling or suspenseful, hit the mute button and watch the shit not even be none of that anymore. Because they selling you a whole reality. The picture you're seeing or the video is just the illusion itself. Seeing is believing, meaning seeing is being lied to, all right, or you accepting whatever the fuck you seeing. You have to be able to be an adept or adept to what you're seeing to be able to go beyond that. That's why I gave you the science of the video game and showed you how 6 VI equals 6, and DO, DEO means God. Okay? So when you're saying DEO, you're literally saying